Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I don't have, I think I can project. I don't have a microphone, but I think you can hear me. Welcome to the Mayoral Forum for the candidates of the city of Pleasanton. I'm Susanna Wong Ordway, School Board Trustee of the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, and my role today is the President of the Tri-Valley chapter of the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association, or I'm going to refer to it as APAPA Tri-Valley chapter. APAPA is a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to advance our communities with the focus on the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities through leadership development and civic engagement opportunities like today's event. This public forum is co-hosted by the League of Women Voters of Alameda County. Both APAPA and the League of Women Voters are nonpartisan organizations, and our mutual goal is to provide non-biased, objective information to our communities and allow everyone to make informed voting decisions for themselves. Our session today will be recorded and made available to those who can't attend in person. We are very fortunate and are honored to have Bill Clarkson, a very knowledgeable and experienced community and public service leader, as our moderator today. Bill has over 22 years in public service and a lot more as a community leader. He was a former mayor of San Ramon, elected for the maximum 4 terms, and before that, a former school board member for San Ramon Valley Unified for 12 years. He's also been a part of the Tri-Valley community for over 4 decades and knows more about the history and changes to this region than anyone I know. Bill, thank you for helping us out today, and please take it away.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I really appreciate you both attending, and I think also for many of you battling the traffic. That was really something. When I first began driving down here myself, I realized I better find a better route than I'd chosen. I'm really looking forward to this. I've been on that side for 25 years, and so it's really fun being on this side, but I assure you I will not be fact-checking. I'll be just asking the question where you go. A couple of general comments and some housekeeping items in terms of how this forum, not a debate, but this forum will go. One is, and I really encourage you, there's going to be no cheering and no jeering, including for mothers. I know there's one out there. But we want to be civil. We do not want to intimidate anybody who's speaking. That was always a ground rule during public meetings and city council too, is you don't want to have any kind of intimidation going on or even cheering and clapping, because it somehow inhibits really a good free flow of information. So I appreciate you doing that. The other is that we're to the candidates to be very, very respectful of the time limits. You have a clock up here. We can see a clock here. When the time is up, finish speaking. Not a matter of finishing your sentence. This is the key to managing your time and showing that you are an efficient manager of your time allocation, and not to have finishing your sentence, which could be a run-on sentence. I don't want to have the awkwardness. When your time is up, just go ahead and stop. This gives us a chance in this kind of forum for us to get an idea of what the guiding principles are of our elected representatives, those who want to run for office. Get a gauge of their general knowledge of city government, which I can assure you is far more complex than you might imagine. These are both incumbents, these are both people in office, they know what I'm talking about. It is a complex subject, but we want to get an idea of how they think through complex issues. And the last is there'll be some specific questions on specific issues at the end to get their idea of where they stand. Although, in all fairness, if an issue is coming before city council in the future, and they've yet to have a public hearing, it's not fair for a candidate or for people in office to make decisions how they're going to vote before they've heard from the public. So don't be discouraged if you find that they give you their general guiding principles, how they would approach decision making, but not how they're going to vote on a subject that has not come before the public, before the agency yet, and you, the public, haven't spoken to them yet about this, and they really shouldn't decide how they're going to vote until then, right? So, with those general ground rules, we're going to ask a series of questions. Carly, no, excuse me. You won, so you get to go first. I apologize. Your first name again?
Oh, Jack.
Jack, I'm sorry, Jack, my apologies. I'm focusing on what I'm gonna say, I'm not, my apologies, Jack. Jack gets to go first. I'm gonna ask a question, you'll have your minute and a half. But we start first with their general introduction. They have 2 minutes to introduce themselves to us. So Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, or afternoon. Thank you for our hosts and for all of you being here today and taking part in this. My name is Jack Balch, and I'm running for the mayor of Pleasanton because I believe the city of Pleasanton needs a fresh direction. One rooted in fiscal responsibility, public safety, and true community engagement. As a lifelong resident of the region, growing up on the Sunol-Fremont border, I've dedicated over 15 years of service to Pleasanton. As a certified public accountant for over 22 years, I've consistently applied my financial expertise to advocate for prudent spending of your taxpayer money. I've stood against major water rate hikes and wasteful spending. I've fought for transparency, accountability, in local government. Pleasanton is an extraordinary place. No offense to the city of Dublin that we are in now. I appreciate your hosting this. But we in Pleasanton are at a crossroads. The challenges we face, rising cost of living, stretched public safety resources, and misdirected spending demand proactive leadership that's willing to ask the tough questions and listen to our community. We need to move our city forward. There are real differences between my opponent and I, how we have voted on past issues, and how we see the direction of our community forward. To me, it's the same as reactive versus proactive leadership. My commitment to Pleasanton is that we don't just get by, but we thrive with well-managed finances, robust public safety, and an open, transparent government that truly listens to its residents and delivers the excellent public services we deserve. I'm running to bring a new direction, to restore our reputation as a well-managed city of planned progress, and to make sure Pleasanton remains a place where families, businesses, and our entire community can succeed. Thank you for consideration. I hope to earn your trust and support for Mayor of Pleasanton.
All right. I'd like to thank APAPA and the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum today. My name is Carla Brown. I have been mayor for the city of Pleasanton for 4 years, and I've served 8 years as city council before that. Yeah, remember 2020, that election we were in COVID, businesses were at risk, economic hardship was all around us, as well as health hardships. But along with city staff and the city council, we worked hard to save our downtown businesses, and we also offered small business loans to our small businesses that were struggling. These were the energy needed to help our downtown survive and now thrive. And then regarding large businesses, I helped secure 10X Genomics to come to Pleasanton. They brought 150,000 square feet, many jobs, and tax revenue. You know, we have over 58,000 jobs, and recently I met with IT Kaiser, who are bringing 1,200 new jobs to Pleasanton. This is the job of a mayor that works full-time on behalf of the residents. Later this month, or next month, I'm going to be hosting a biosymposium along with some of our biotech hub here in the city of Pleasanton. I'm also here to talk about facts and solutions and not finger pointing. I don't think we're going in the wrong direction, and a recent survey of last year said over 93% of our residents said they feel totally safe in Pleasanton, and over 91% say their quality of life in Pleasanton is excellent or good. That is incredible. So I voted for a reasonable balanced budget, and I know city staff works very hard following the directions of our city council. So despite rumors, there's no silver bullet, there's no bucket of money, and there's no pot of gold to solve our financial challenges.
Thank you very much. Jack, you're going to start with the first question, more generalized question. As you know, it takes 3 votes for anything to pass in terms of city council. I'd like to know, what is your approach to leadership? How would you define what leadership is about? How do you build a consensus around that?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I am privileged to currently serve as the chairperson of Ava Community Energy, which has 18 elected and appointed officials and represents many in the Alameda and San Joaquin counties. And it's what I would be doing there. It starts with mutual respect, understanding that the chair that I occupy belongs to the residents, the voters, and the community. And I am just trusted with it for the short time that I serve. Tone at the top matters. The tone of how you conduct your business, how you disagree, how you can talk through issues without the discourse and the demeaning elements of it. So to do that, whether I'm elected or not, I conduct myself in the best way I know how to try to show respect for all opinions, because I know my life path is different than every single person's in this room. That is one of the beauties of living in this area, that we all have different experiences and we can meld them together into a future for all of us. It is better when we fold all of our opinions into the outcome and decision, because the minute we believe that we know the answer full and forthright is the minute we've lost people along the way. So I plan to talk to people, I plan to listen, and I plan to try to build bridges with my fellow electeds on the dais in Pleasanton, as I do already in Ava Community Energy.
Okay, thank you. I believe in building a collaborative team, and my votes support that. I'm endorsed by all members of the city council that are not here today. That's a vice mayor and 2 city council members. I'm endorsed by State Senator Steve Glazier, both of our county supervisors, our firefighters, former mayors of Pleasanton, our 3 highly respected Zone 7 Water Board members, PUSD trustee, BART director, and the mayor of Fremont, Danville, Union City, Hayward, San Ramon, the city of Alameda, to name a few, as well as planning commissioners. I work hard to reach out and talk to these experts that are also serving in our community in their own. These are team building processes that take time and effort to build. I'm very proud of the work that I've done, and even as leading our city council meetings, we try very hard to reach a 5-0 vote. Sometimes that's just not possible. Numerous times we've tried to reach to the person who's in disagreement and ask, is there something in the middle that all 5 of us can agree on, so that we can support in full an initiative going forward. It doesn't always happen. I have great respect for those who do their homework and sometimes do have different opinions, but together we are better. Together as a team, collaborating, we're going to be winners.
Thank you. Carla, go. Next question, you ready?
Okay.
If you could address, what is the one issue that keeps you up at night about your city? What is the one issue that keeps you up at night? And specifically, what would you do to help resolve that issue?
Certainly. There is one issue that keeps me up at night, and campaigning is almost one of those, but separately regarding the city, is we have a fiscal hardship in the city of Pleasanton. There were some things uncovered with new city leadership when they came in, and I'm not about to shoot the messenger. They uncovered things that I never knew in my 8 years of service, and that was that we had no asset management program. And what asset management means is if you got a library and a roof, and you haven't put any money aside for when that roof starts to deteriorate and leak, how are you going to find the funding to replace it? It also means we have 300 miles of drinking water pipe. Much of it is over 65 years old. The life of drinking water pipe is 65 years. We have not set sufficient money aside for these very expensive things. So my solution is I support the measured PEP half-cent sales tax, which will fund police, fire, asset management, and infrastructure. This will help protect Pleasanton, as the PEP stands for maintenance of our parks, for maintenance of our community and our streets. We live in a very highly sought after community. It costs a lot to maintain 46 parks, 300 miles of drinking water, 20 tanks on the hill, and 14 pumps of water. We need this to survive.
Sorry.
Yeah, so thank you very much. The budget also keeps me up at night. I'm a CPA for over 22 years, like I mentioned in my opening comments. And so for me, I was elected, and only within the first year I started to identify budget challenges in the city of Pleasanton. As a result, in 22, I was not able to support the budget at that time because it moved $1 million out of the city of Pleasanton's general fund reserve to be allocated or designated for the skate park. And in 23, when an additional $5.4 million was allocated to the skate park out of operations, I wasn't able to support that as well. The budget is a challenge. It's one of your city council's most primary tasks. If we cannot balance our budget and prioritize for the values that we have as a city, public safety, clean water, and working for the economic vitality of our city, then we're not doing your job. We're not doing the job you've put us there to do. So for me, after being elected only a single year, I saw these challenges, whereas my opponent voted for that budget and for all the budgets prior. So when we look at the things that the city manager may have uncovered, we did have a repair and replacement account. It is woefully underfunded, and they told us that. It was $900 million, almost $1 billion, to get us to state of good repair. So when people ask me what keeps me up at night, I would say our budget and our low-end public safety.
You both have served on city council for at least 4 years, if not longer. So, Jack, you're gonna start this one. Tell us at least 2, if not 3 things you did during your time of service, but some of which may not be known widely to the public, that you're most proud of that benefited Pleasanton.
That's a great question, right? What am I proud of in my service, right? When I got elected, I thought my service would be different. I thought I would be doing something different. I would be working to advance parks or helping businesses located into our community. COVID was still in the front window. I was elected in November of 2020. But things that I'm very proud of are things that I'm able to do that have helped Pleasanton long term. By being on AVA Community Energy, we're advancing carbon-free energy for our entire counties, Alameda and San Joaquin. That's something that will benefit my son and your lungs for years to come. When I think about the water situation, trying to figure out how to afford it, how to balance it so that we're not causing people to have to leave our community for affordability, so that they actually can afford the things that we need. So I'm very proud as to being part of the conversations and trying to bring a perspective of fiscal prudence to our community. So between reducing the carbon content in our air or our voice of fiscal conservatism so that we can achieve the goals we want, those are probably the things I'm most proud of. But I am proud of my service, and I've given Pleasanton 15 years of honest service that I really am proud to have served. Thank you.
All right, 2 things I'm very proud of is, as I had mentioned earlier, I feel that this council and staff helped save our downtown. As Dublin looks forward to building their downtown, we're very proud of our historic town. Pleasanton is 130 years old, and many of our shops downtown are iconic in our memories, such as Meadowlark Dairy. If we didn't have last night I left an event, and as I drove by, the queuing line for Meadowlark Dairy was down and around, and it was towards Livermore. It was incredible. So saving our downtown businesses is very important to me. The other thing I'm very proud of is bringing businesses and jobs to Pleasanton. So I mentioned 10X Genomics as one of those. I've continued to support businesses. We have some of the fastest growing businesses in the country in Pleasanton. I support our businesses. I support their ability to thrive and grow. And incredible, of a town of about 75,000 people, we have 68,000 jobs. Now that's a job center. We're located in 2 critical areas with roads and infrastructure, but I'm gonna add a third if I may, and that is we shut down the first well 8, that spiked with PFAS, or a Teflon material. Out of an abundance of caution for our residents' health, We shut down that well before I was elected mayor, and we've shut down 2 since with residents' health and safety first.
Thank you. Carla, shifting gears now, talk more about some specific stuff. As you know, the state has passed a series of laws around housing. Both of you serve in council, and you both have your vision of what you want your city to look like when it comes to housing. Share with us 1 or 2 laws that are most in conflict with your vision of what the city should be, and what are you doing to help mitigate the impact of those laws on your city?
Sure. Well, there has been an awful lot of recent laws in the state dictating what cities should look like. I'm very proud that this council passed and had approved our housing element with HCD in the state. That's 6,000 housing units that will be coming to the city of Pleasanton. Then there's some housing laws like SB 35, which will allow 100% affordable housing with no parking. And we had a project downtown on Harrison Street that was queued up and had an owner ready to build. I believe it was 46 units, no parking. All the neighbors would be burdened with additional parking in front of their homes. I'm very proud that I spoke to a developer who has now purchased this property. They are going to bring back a reasonable project that will park their units in the parking spaces instead of burdening others. That's an example of how they called me as the mayor and said, I want to talk to you. I don't think this is the right project for Pleasanton. I've lived here my whole life. There was just recently some new housing bills passed by the governor, signed by the governor, and they're highly punitive. They're designed, if you don't have a housing element, which we do, there will be fines on a monthly basis, as well as the builder's remedy, which gives builders great power and the city very little. Thanks.
Yeah. So I should make sure I'm telling you that I believe that we're not doing our job as Pleasanton to take care of our future, and that we have been holding down housing and development in Pleasanton in a way that's actually now we're reaping the benefits or the detriment of. So to that end, for example, we graduate 1,200 students, seniors from our schools every year, but Pleasanton only built 18 homes, 7 single family, 11 ADUs last year. So for me, I would like Pleasanton to be in the driver's seat of thinking where housing should go so that we maintain the character of our city throughout our city. What ended up happening in the housing element that we did is we basically densified significant sections of our community, primarily along the 580 border, because they were close to transit, but we left other areas untouched and unburdened. So we're gonna have a traffic tsunami, I think, in the future of Pleasanton. SB 35, as the mayor said, my opponent, is truly a challenge. SB 35, no parking, is not designed for a suburban rural community. Everyone that I know has a car or has access to a car. And we know with an online app, you can have a car zipped over to you pretty quickly. So even if you don't have one yourself. The other one is SB 9, which allows the splitting of units. That's also challenged us in how we can see our community. But I do support the missing middle housing, duplex, triplex.
Thank you. Jack, you're gonna go next.
Perfect.
Public surveys have told us year after year after year, the most important thing for our residents has always been public safety. Biggest challenge we have is the allocation of scarce resources, our budget. Tell us, are you happy with how you're allocating your budget toward public safety? What changes would you advocate, if any, for your budget for public safety in your city?
Yeah, thank you. Excellent question. So Pleasanton currently has 83 sworn officers budgeted. Our challenge isn't the budget allocated to the officers or the number of officers. Our challenge is that we cannot fill the spots, or we have a problem that they are on disability. So the spot remains fully filled spot, but they're not out there deployed and serving the community because they're on disability. So that's one of our first challenges. The second challenge we have with our budget and our public safety is that our officers were out of contract for 92 days during the last cycle. And one of the third elements is the morale in Pleasanton right now with the police officers. What I mean by morale is when our city council allows our armored rescue vehicle to be deployed in Livermore instead of in our city limits of Pleasanton during National Night Out, that demoralizes officers from wanting to be coming to Pleasanton. When Pleasanton looks at what it needs to do, it needs to have sufficient budget to meet the needs of our community. Our emergency response time for officers is on average now 5 minutes and 19 seconds, when we have a stated policy of 4 minutes. If your car is being burglarized, if someone's coming into your home to vandalize it, or you're inside, I would think that you would expect a very short and rapid response time. And we need to have the officers in place to do that. That's fully staffing them, and that's allocating the dollars they're worth.
Right, but the city of Pleasanton pays very close to the median salary. If we had more money, maybe if Measure PP passed, we'd have a little bit more. The negotiations have been challenging. It's not because we don't value these very important workers within our city community. It's that we struggle for the ways to find the funding to pay them what they're really worth. So I stand with our police officers, I stand with our firefighter union and police union, and I stand with our city union of employees in support of Measure PP. It is the way to additionally find funding needed to pay these officers what they need, to give them the equipment they need, and to continue to support their training as they need. Our firefighters are suffering from the lack of training support. Police officers need to continue service and training. And there have been some discussions about cutting budgets for training. Well, if you have and you carry a weapon, you need training. It needs to be current. So I'm going to continue to support Measure PP. I'll stand, as I said, along with our 3 city unions in support of how to find funding for this critical resource so that our police officers, firefighters, and city employees get the money and the services and the equipment they need.
Thank you. Carla, next question deals with the business environment, the jobs environment. What is the role the city has, if any, in choosing who the winners and losers are in this city in terms of businesses, or should they not choose business winners and losers? And what is the role of the Chamber of Commerce in your city? Or what should it be?
Well, our Chamber of Commerce has been proactive, bringing in new businesses. I've worked alongside them to bring new businesses into the Chamber of Commerce. I attend as many red ribbons, literally, ribbon cuttings as I possibly can. Being a mayor is a full-time job. I'm very honored to do it. However, I don't always have time. Sometimes I'm at Alameda County Transportation Commission in the middle of the day. I'm not able to attend. As mayor, I'm a speaker for State of the City. It's a speech I work very hard at to make sure it is interesting. People leave with some data and facts maybe they didn't know before. And I'm very proud that in 2023, we set a new record of attendance for the State of the City speech. And it was held over at the Palm Event Center to a full house. So I work well with the city government, with the City Chamber of Commerce. I work well with businesses. And as I said in my opening speech, whether they're biotech, they're up and coming growing, or they are IT, like Kaiser IT, or they want to bring a new corporation to Pleasanton, like 10X Genomics. I am there to hold their hand, to meet with them, and to assure them that the city will support them as they move forward with their new corporations.
Okay. So thank you very much. The question is, how do we support businesses, and does the city choose winners and losers? And unfortunately it does, and it does through its active ground floor use policy, which in Pleasanton prohibits certain businesses from being able to locate in our downtown, or sets barriers for certain businesses to be able to locate in our downtown. The other thing that we did is we have a downtown specific plan. It was meant to streamline. It was meant to make it so that businesses could be able to locate in Pleasanton in an effective and efficient manner, but still maintain the quality that we as residents deserve in our downtown. What we've ended up having is we've forgotten that businesses have a limit on time, talent, and money. And as a result, Our planning application and process in Pleasanton is exorbitantly long. It takes an exorbitant amount of time to get a permit to open a business in Pleasanton, because instead of using the downtown specific plan as a streamlined tactic, we've actually used it as a second level of checklists. So when we look at our downtown, or we look at our community, we're starting to actually see businesses choose other communities in the nearby area to go to locate to. And we better start asking ourselves why they see red tape in Pleasanton and red carpet in Livermore or Dublin. And when we go further from that, we should be looking at how we can work with the chamber. The chamber for years has been telling us of their challenges. I am very happy to be endorsed by our chamber of Pleasanton's Chamber of Commerce, because I've talked to them about these issues.
Quick question, how much time we have left?
We have about 8 to 13 minutes.
Good, thank you.
Lots more questions.
Jack, questions for you. Water, in particular groundwater. Some challenges you guys are having with both groundwater. Tell us, what does the future hold for the residents of Pleasanton in terms of capital costs? And what, if anything, does this council need to do to tackle the issue of groundwater, sustainability in this community?
Yeah, thank you very much. So when I say that I support affordable clean water, I mean it. Unlike my opponent, I voted to not turn on or allow the turning on of the polluted wells 5 and 6 in our community, which are PFAS contaminated. To me, I think Pleasanton would rather conserve than to have that type of water going down our pipes. When we look at the water challenge Pleasanton and the entire valley has, we need to be working together with Zone 7 to try to solve these problems. Groundwater for Pleasanton, with its 3,500 acre feet of available water, represents 20 to 25% of our water source, and it also represents a more inexpensive water source than the Zone 7 water source. But partnership with them so that we can do the 3 test wells and see if they're able to be production wells, and what that does do for the groundwater basin is essential. I'm not a water expert, but I will work hard to try to do that and try to work with them and reach across to have those conversations. Capital planning and projects are going to be the issue. When we do things, how we do them, how we pay for them is essential to make it so that our residents can have the affordable water. We cannot have everything today. We have to understand that we're gonna need to plot out when we can do capital projects, the expected outlay counting for inflation, and then make a plan and execute.
Okay, I am endorsed by 3 Zone 7 Water Board members because I'm on 2 boards within the region. I'm a liaison to Zone 7 and also in the Water Roundtable with all 5 cities in the Tri-Valley. I understand the health and safety issues of water. I would never approve water that wasn't safe, and I take offense to that line of comments. We did approve the use. First of all, we closed well 8 when it spiked way before it was necessary or mandated. We closed well 8, it was our highest flowing well, and we did that in 2018. Then after 2021, we tested well 5 and 6. Again, they could have flowed safe water per the California drinking water system, but out of an abundance of caution, we shuttered them and said they were only for emergency purposes. If your house is on fire, do you want me to use clean, what would be considered safe water? I said, only in the most critical of emergency services, and in fact, that water was never used, which I think is important, to not spread fear, but let's spread facts. So we are running 3 test wells. They will be located in the city of Pleasanton. They're done in partnership with Zone 7. It is unknown exactly how the cost sharing will take place.
Questions for you, Carla?
Okay.
Measure PP does not pass. The 1/2 cent tax money is not coming in. You're gonna have to deal with the budget with that absence of money. What are you going to do? What are your plans in terms of structuring the finance of the city to handle that?
The structural deficit, which is 10 to 13 million per year for the next 8 to 10 years, is significant. Our general fund is about $154 million. So 10 million is a lot of that. 72% of that 154 million is employee costs. The other balance is mostly, I need to pay PG&E or AVA engineering, or AVA. I need to pay health insurance. I need to pay other fixed costs. So it means cuts will come in employees, it will come in maintenance, it will come in longer time for applications, for new construction projects and new housing and buildings. It will come in slower police response, and it may come in the closure of a fire department. A future council will decide what these numbers are. But to me, it's highly concerning. That's why I came out in favor of Measure PP from day one. People in Pleasanton call me because the grass isn't cut evenly. They call me because the garbage can is full in front of Starbucks. There is no way these residents are going to accept less quality than we provide today. And I certainly hope the Council of the Future understands this important features for our community.
Yeah, so I've been asked this a lot while I've been campaigning, so I really appreciate the question, right? And it's a very real possibility for Pleasanton that we don't pass PP. So right now, I'll just remind everyone that I'm a CFO of a company, and I do that as my full-time job. So spreadsheets, capital planning, is what I do for a living. There is a structural deficit in Pleasanton. Our costs have risen greater than our revenues. We knew after the pandemic that the mall was not recovering, which is exactly why I voted against taking $1 million out of reserve and an additional $5.4 million out the subsequent year. Because to me, I could see that in our numbers already, 2 years before my opponent at that time. When we look at what we have done, we haven't talked to our community about what are their values other than we know public safety. We need to have a citizens advisory group to be able to be trained on the budget, to be able to participate and help guide us as to how our community addresses this issue. I have some suggestions that what things we can do, but all of my things are like leadership of old. They're all investments over time that help build the quality of life in the future, over time. There is no quick fix. There is no silver bullet. So development impact fees, economic development strategy, passing along the credit card processing fees, focused on the mall and getting costs go up online, active ground floor use revisions, and looking at where we can reduce expenses.
This will be the last question that you're gonna have, your closing comments. This question's a little bit unusual, but I think it's important. Tell me, as somebody, as the mayor, what are you going to do to build bridges with people who disagree with you? What are some things you can do, what are things you advocate, and that you commit to our residents that you will do to build relationships with people who don't agree with you all the time? What are you going to do to make sure that we have an atmosphere of, we agree to disagree, but we may disagree with each other, but we do so in agreeable ways? So tell me concretely what you're going to do to help move that forward.
I think I'm first. Thank you. An excellent question as well. For me, the way you build bridges is you make sure you listen. Not listen to respond, as my wife advises me, but listen to hear. Listen to hear someone and hear what they're trying to communicate to you. And when you do that, when you ask questions of curiosity, not questions of led-on premise, but curiosity, so that you understand their perspective. And then you try to think about, well, can I fold that in? Can it be part of the solution? Can I compromise so that we have a better result? If it doesn't do anything to hurt me, if it helps them, if it helps address their issue, or at least partially. I had the opportunity to speak in front of some younger adults, and they're so focused on achieving the result, the end goal. And I try to communicate, you know, we don't all get what we want. We have to be accepting compromise. Move a step forward today, save the rest for tomorrow. Let society work together. We all work together We all live here. It's part of our community. So concrete steps, listening to understand, meeting with people, trying to get outside the bubble. That's one of the things. I understand that I am not necessarily an individual that looks like you, but I do try to listen to perspectives from people that don't look like me. Oh.
It's good if I just talk loud. Okay. All right. Building relationships is key, absolutely, and I'm very proud of the endorsements that I've received because I reached across the aisle, so to speak, and because I listened. But most importantly, what we see happening on this Pleasanton City Council is the questions, is there a place in the middle where we can both agree? That's the question. And if the answer is no, I absolutely will never support this budget, no matter what you say, what you do, then there is no middle ground. So having that conversation is step one. Second is finding a way to listen to our experts. So on Tuesday, we had 8 experts that are all financial experts in government accounting and CPAs. They have MBAs and certificates from Harvard. They are our experts. In all honesty, a city council member is not elected to be a finance director. Our city council member is elected to ask good questions, to listen to answers, and find collaboration within others on the council. I think I've done that, and I've done that extremely well. I'm very proud of my record, and I'm very proud to have support of those on the city council that work with me, that listen, that bring their expertise, and everyone on the city council, Councilmember Balch included, brings an expertise that's important to listen to. They walked a different path.
Carl, you get to do the closing statement. You get to go first this time. Jack went first last time. You have 2 minutes to give your closing statement.
All right, thank you. I'm very proud of my service to the city of Pleasanton. As I said, it started in COVID, if you want to call it a rocky start. And from COVID, we saw sales tax revenue drop. We saw less transfer of real estate in the city of Pleasanton, which meant reassessment of residential property did not increase, which it had in the past. Normally it's about 5% per year, we're about 3.5. We also found some of our corporate partners are underutilizing their property, and they are asking for a reassessment from the county assessors. All these things affect our budget, and many of them were directly associated with COVID. However, our residents are happy. We just need to settle this financial challenge. With 93% feeling totally safe, 91% agreeing it's an excellent or good place to live, 89% think it's an excellent or good place to raise a family. So with these information, what it means to me is it's time to get the funding through a half-cent sales tax, solve most of our financial challenges, continue to make cuts, continue to look where we can trim the budget, and continue to move forward with an outstanding community where people pay more to live in the city of Pleasanton. As mayor, I support our large businesses coming to Pleasanton, and so far, I've had 100% rating for bringing companies to town. So along with my endorsements, I'm very proud and honored to serve as mayor of Pleasanton over the last 4 years. I will continue to reach so-called across the aisle to find collaboration with those that disagree, and I want to earn their respect that I've tried very hard to be the best mayor possible.
I learned to wait for the ladies.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being here today and taking an interest in our future. I know I have not walked the same life path that many of you in this room have walked, but I do hope and work hard so that your family prospers just like my own, because I think that's what community is about. So Pleasanton is more than just the city I get to live in. It's obviously where I get to raise my family, build my business, and forge lifelong friendships, which I've done with many in the room. It's at a pivotal moment, we know this. and our decisions on this election will shape Pleasanton for years to come. Whether you're voting for me or someone else, I do ask that you act to impact this election the way you would like it to happen. I think the message of what APAPA brings forward is important. Get involved, stand up, make sure your voice is heard. I've tried in my 15 years of service to be able to be forward thinking, to try to bring to bear my financial skills to warn this community of its challenges. I've tried to protect our open spaces, encourage our vitality, and work together on things to find compromise and build a beautiful community. I do believe that we can do better. A Pleasanton where every resident feels heard, where tax dollars are spent wisely, where every decision is actually made with your future in mind, future investments, long-term growth for our community. We can maintain the status quo, but we could also ask the tough questions and get committed to move Pleasanton forward, maintaining our character by harnessing the power of change to improve our lives. If you don't want to change, you can all turn on your iPhone as you exit. It's as simple as proactive leadership. I ask for your vote for mayor. Thank you.
Nice job. Good job. I want to thank Jack and Carla for not just good performance tonight, but also thank you for your service. Most people don't realize the personal sacrifices that people make in running for office, plus the sacrifices they make to actually serve in office. Anybody who reads Next Door would know what I'm talking about. It is the bane of local politics, and it is discouraging many really good people from running for office, which is a shame. And so when folks do step up and they do run, they have my respect and my appreciation. I want to say thank you to both of you. I wish you the best of luck going forward. Pleasanton is well served by your integrity. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, just thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and thank you of course to Bill Clarkson, our moderator, and then to Jack Botch and Carla Brown for participating. There are snacks outside in the lobby, so I would encourage those of you who are not staying for the next forum to go ahead and make yourself comfortable outside. And I think, right, if you have specific questions, then our two candidates will be able to talk with you directly. Thank you.
So
I'll let you know. It's good to see you.
Yes.